Hello and welcome to Powerline Podcasts. We are very pleased to introduce a special 12-part series, Discom Perspectives, that will bring to you views and insights from the very top leaders in India's power distribution sector and will offer you a closer look at the realities that are shaping the industry today. For this first episode of Discom Perspectives, I am your host, Alok Brara, publisher of Powerline Magazine, and I'm joined by Priyanka Kwatra, who's editor of Powerline Magazine. We are super pleased to have with us Ms. Arti Dogra, who is chairman of all three Discoms in Rajasthan, in Jaipur, Jodhpur, and Ajmer. She's also the Energy Secretary to the Government of Rajasthan and the chairperson of Rajasthan Vidyut Prasaran Nigam Limited, IT Services Limited, and Rajasthan Urja Vikas as well. So she thus effectively oversees the entire electricity sector in Rajasthan. A very, very warm welcome to you, Ms. Dogra, and thank you for being here with us. The podcast series is being sponsored by STS Association, which is an international organization that develops and maintains the standard transfer specification for prepaid meters. And joining us from STS Association is Lance Hawkins Dairy. He is the director and current chairperson of STSA. Joining him is Franco Pucci, who's technical consultant, and Don Taylor, who's a renowned pioneer in the field of prepayment metering. With that, let's move into the discussion. Priyanka, over to you.
Thanks, Ms. Dogra, for joining us today. My first question to you is regarding the key achievement of your utilities. So what have been the top noteworthy achievement of your utilities over the, past 3 years?
Thank you for having me here. So let me begin by saying that the Rajasthan perspective and Rajasthan DISCOMs per se have had a very different history from a lot of the other DISCOMs in the country because of the kind of unique situation that exists in Rajasthan, whether it is in terms of geography, whether it is in terms of distance from any coal mines, and hence the cost overruns in terms of cost of supply. But over the past few years, our focus has been essentially on moving away from a reactive firefighting approach to a more stable and a system-driven utility. And we've been trying to build a greater financial discipline and a sort of operational predictability and building the groundwork for a more complex future, integrating renewables and something which is now becoming a strength of the state in Rajasthan. And as you're aware, we are essentially a government utility. So we've had to align with the state's development priorities as well, whether it is ensuring that power supply supports industrial growth across the country, or it is in ensuring that we are able to bring power to all our farmers for agricultural supply. So if I was to define our achievements over the past 3 years, I would look at them in three broad areas. The first is bringing about a greater financial discipline. So as we've ended the last financial year, March 31st, we here in Jaipur Discom were able to record some of the best financial results we've had right from the time of the Discoms being unbundled. So in the last 25 years, we've managed to recover the best financial results this year. And we've crossed 100% revenue realization. We've managed to recover a lot of our past dues to the tune of about 600 crores and built a greater billing and collection efficiency within the system. Secondly, I would say loss reduction. We're all aware that AD&C losses are something that have been an issue with Discoms almost across the country. But again, this is something we've been consistently working with in the Discoms in Rajasthan. And two of our Discoms here Jaipur Discom as well as Ajmer Discom have managed to bring AT&C losses below 10% again for the first time ever in the history of the existence of the Discoms. The third Discom, Jodhpur Discom, is working towards greater loss reduction. There's some inherent problems over there because it's situated in the western part of Rajasthan. But we're happy that in two Discoms we've been able to see this kind of a turnaround. And thirdly, we are working towards basic system improvements within the Discoms, and we are happy that within metering and network strengthening, we've been able to do a lot of good work. So this is the first financial year that we begun with a zero defective meter situation in Jaipur Discom. Defective meters has been a problem, and lakhs of meters have been defective in the state over the years. And this is the first time we've got a clean perspective here as far as defective meters are concerned. Alongside this, on the supply side, we've strengthened our network considerably. The state government, when the new state government came in, there was a decision to ensure that we can give all our farmers daytime supply. And we've been able to work effectively with the Prime Minister's flagship scheme, PM Kusum Yojana. And using that, we have been able to bring day power to 24 of our 41 districts, and we are committed to the state government goal of ensuring we bring day power to our farmers across the state in all districts by 2027. So obviously that has needed a lot of system strengthening as well. Overall, I think the system today is far more predictable and data driven than it was earlier, and I think this inherently has been one of the most significant achievements that we've had.
Okay. I should mention, Ms. Dogra, I've been covering Rajasthan since the time of Mr. Bhandari, whose name might be somewhere there in your office. Moving on to the future now. What are the key priorities for your organizations for the next 3 years? What are the key goals?
Of course, you mentioned Mr. Bhandari, and he's a legend as far as Rajasthan is concerned, and he's literally been the person at the forefront. We're still deeply connected with him, and we keep referring to him for advice. The next phase, I believe, the next phase in Rajasthan is going to be less about improving isolated metrics and more about managing the complexity that is coming into the system, whether it is the complexity of integrating renewables, whether it is building greater capacities of the transmission systems. As a government utility, as I mentioned earlier, our priorities are deeply aligned with the broader development of the state and the state goals. And this includes ensuring reliable, good quality supply, round the clock, daytime supply, as I mentioned. Broadly, I would say that our priorities would be transitioning to a more data-driven utility through smart metering. We're doing a lot of smart metering and improving our feeder metering and the analytics that come with it. And integrating renewable energy into the system and thereby improving supply, managing the impact of this integration, as well as ensuring financial sustainability without excessive tariff shocks, so to speak. And at the forefront of all this remains our commitment to consumer services and responsiveness to consumers, making it a more IT-driven system. At the end of the day, I think we're all working towards preparing the Discoms to a more dynamic, changing environment and a much more demanding operating environment, which is fast changing, the impact of battery storage, the impact of renewables, integrating all this as we go along and making it a more predictable system.
Ms. Dogra, you just spoke about your priorities and goals. I wanted to understand what are your plans to address these priorities and achieve these goals? in the areas of RE integration, consumer services, etc.?
So I would say that we are looking at these goals from a three-pronged perspective. This would be the technology part of it, this would be the processes, and the people who are also the core of the DISCOM, the people who work for us. So as far as the technology side is concerned, with the support of the government of India, as part of the RDSS scheme, we are rolling out our smart metering systems. We are strengthening our data analytics capabilities. We're trying to integrate our multiple data bases that we have. And we've been working for the past 1 year in Jaipur Discom on piloting the first digital twin, which has been rolled out in Jaipur Discom. On processes, I would say we are working on more micro monitoring, feeder level accountability, and standardization of the systems. And we're moving away from the one off drives to control losses or to focus on revenue recovery and make it a more embedded, continuous system. Since, like I mentioned, the people who work for us, our engineers, our technical teams, our revenue teams, these are the core of our work. So we are trying to ensure that we can build ownership at the field level, at build greater accountability to ensure a more performance oriented work culture. And the idea is that the kind of reforms that we've been undertaking over the last 3 years, and as we go forth, they become a part of the system, they become embedded in the system, and they're not dependent on individuals, or they're not dependent on a few schemes that may come out, and they become inherent, so to speak, to the system.
Ms. Dogra, what do you see as the key challenges?
The challenges, I think, there are some challenges that Rajasthan has, which are basically legacy challenges. Those are challenges of transmission infrastructure. Those are challenges of past inefficiencies. Those will take time to address. And the second challenge is what I spoke about earlier, that comes from the state per se, the scale and the diversity of the state, which makes uniform implementation in the state slightly more difficult than in other states. We are a desert state, we are a huge state, transmission lines are very long. Even to bring power to our villages, we need to take up much longer lines, much more huger capacities. So our infrastructure building then becomes a challenge. And I think third is a challenge which a lot of states are facing, the complexity of energy transition. We are managing variability of the integration with renewables, and the challenges that are coming on account of that, including challenges of distributed renewable energy, like with the PM Kusum, the challenge of integrating renewable energy like solar and wind, and the challenge of meeting the uncertainty in a much more dynamic system, the challenge of meeting peaks that are very seasonal. In Rajasthan, we have a different demand structure in the Rabi season, where agriculture predominates. We have a different demand structure in the summer season. So meeting that uncertainty and building a more reliable system, I think those essentially are our challenges.
Ms. Dogra, my next question is regarding the CAPEX plans. So what are your CAPEX plans for the next 3 years, and what are the top key areas of expenditure?
So I would say that CAPEX in Rajasthan needs to be more focused on, like I said, the system strengthening to ensure reliability, building our networks, making them more resilient and ready for the future. And a significant portion of our capex is going into strengthening the network, augmenting it, particularly in our rural areas, where we are committed to the state goal of ensuring data and supply to our farmers. And we are also investing very heavily in smart meters, in the infrastructure to ensure that our substations and our feeders are upgraded to handle more variable loads as the energy dynamics keep changing. Essentially, we are prioritizing capex not just for an expansion in the system, but to make sure that the system is more resilient, more flexible, and we are able to have a much better control over the network as we go along.
Mr. Dogra, you mentioned earlier the loss reduction you may be able to achieve and the revenue realization. What are some of the measures that you have undertaken or are undertaking to do this?
So, a lot of the loss reduction has been on account of some of the initiatives that were taken under the RDSS scheme, that is, the feeder segregation, the feeder bifurcation, building better HVDS systems, augmenting our transformers, going into the theft prone areas and setting up a better system over there, improving our network over there. And we've focused on our basic loss heavy areas, whether it is in terms of identifying them from a feeder perspective or a distribution transformer perspective. But now I think we are ready to move to a system which is enforcement heavy, which essentially loss reduction has always been about an enforcement heavy system. And we would like to move from that system to a more system driven model of loss reduction. And that, as we are building our feeders and our distribution transformers in Jaipur Discom, we've managed to meter almost all our distribution transformers as well. So being able to monitor the feeders, monitor our distribution transformers, better metering systems, improved billing systems, and greater use of analytics to identify where the gaps exist. So we are looking to use all these measures for loss reduction and enhancement of revenue as we go along. We've had some excellent examples over the last 2-3 years where our field staff has undertaken loss reduction in areas which were very, very loss heavy. So that has included interactive camps with the consumers, that has included measures to reach out, find out illegal transformers, using drone technology to identify theft prone areas, using drones to click photographs. We've developed an IT based GIS GPS based system to track the theft on our engineers' tabs and their mobile phones. So all that has been one way of identifying and reducing loss. But as we go ahead, I think we're going to be more dependent on technology to do that for us.
The next couple of questions will come from STS. Mr. Hawkins Deddy, would you be the one asking the question?
Thank you very much. Well, Ms. Dogra, good afternoon. Firstly, I want to congratulate you on all that you have achieved so far and the initiatives that you have taken. Question from me would be, as the DISCOMs scale up smart metering, given the significant volumes they're planning to roll out and the complexity, as you mentioned, of integrating different technologies and systems, how are they ensuring interoperability across multiple vendors? And what role do you see open standards playing to avoid any sort of supplier lock-in?
So we are in the process of, as I mentioned in Jaipur Discom, we are in the process of building our digital twin. And the idea when we began this digital twin was not to use it as a pilot, but to do it at scale. And the first challenge we encountered while building this digital twin was the fact that we had these huge databases which were operating in silos, and integrating them. And we had different vendors for each one of them, whether it was our smart metering system, whether it is our billing system, whether it is our feeder monitoring system, whether it is the data that comes in from our distributed renewable energy. So bringing it all together and making sure that there is all of them can talk to each other, that was essentially quite a big challenge. And more than getting the databases to talk to each other, it was more of a challenge getting the vendors to talk to each other. So putting them all together in one space and integrating them, and that took us, I think these days, doing analytics or using even AI for analytics is never as much a challenge as building, as you said, an interoperable system. So we've crossed that level in Jaipur Discom. We have been successful in making sure that we have been able to integrate all this. And now we are this year planning to take it ahead to the next Discom, to Ajmer Discom. And I do believe that the lessons that we learned in this process are going to be much easier. Yes, getting vendors in place remains a challenge. Making sure that is a more predictable system is a challenge. But I think we are continuously engaging with the people who work with us. And of course, given the geopolitical situation currently, there have been some challenges thrown up, which are going to lead to some significant delays on ground from what we had planned earlier. But I think eventually you have to factor all those things in when you're building as complex a system as the power sector does demand. So I think a constant engagement with them is helping us understand the places they are coming from, the problems that they face, and then we do try and align them. But I think since I think the entire energy sector per se is in a kind of a transition right now in India. So these are challenges being faced across the country by almost all the discoms, and we're learning as we go along.
Another question from STS.
I'll take the next question if I can just switch my screen quickly. To what extent are secure prepayment models supported by frameworks such as those from the STS Association or the DLMS User Association being considered as part of Discom strategies for improving financial sustainability and reducing energy losses and improving revenue collection and protection, if any?
Definitely, I would say that metering per se is really the foundation of everything in the power sector. And without that measurement, it would be difficult to do anything. As far as prepaid smart meters is concerned, the whole exercise to bring in smart meters is bringing about real-time visibility. We are happy that we have been able to transition all our government connections, which are almost to the tune of 3 lakh connections in the three discoms, and we have been able to move them onto a prepaid system in Rajasthan. And as of 1st April 2026, all our government owned connections are on this prepaid system. So that is bringing about much better and improved cash flows for us and encouraging much more responsible consumption behavior. but it's taken us a while to get here. But since we've done that for all government connections, we'll be able to move forward on that. But for now, in Rajasthan, we are just first integrating the smart meters for our consumers, and then possibly we will take a decision on the prepaid part of it. But yes, we've converted all our government connections onto prepaid.
Let me ask STS a question. Yours is an organization with membership across the world. Is there anything that you can share with us? A single insight from the global experience that you think might be relevant to us.
I can share that. So, I mean, STS has been around for almost, what's it now, about 40 years. Started the prepayment journey and was part of any utilities revenue collection, revenue protection story. But the industry has moved, as Ms. Dogra said. Everybody's going smart metering. So STS Association, with its global footprint based on a well-known and secure standard, we have a liaison now with the DLMS Association or User Association, bringing together the world of prepayment and smart. So you get not only the security of that the STS prepaid function provides, but you also get the data that Ms. Dogra is talking about in terms of smart metering. And that data with the security of payment, I think is where the industry is going. It's where the world's going. And I think Ms. Dogra's approach and initiatives into what the Discoms are doing in India, I think is perfectly aligned for that sort of strategy for interoperability.
The next couple of questions, Ms. Dogra, we're going to ask you, but some of the answers you've already given, right? But nonetheless, I'm going to ask you those questions again anyways. Obviously, big challenge. I think you mentioned we're moving towards a very dynamic system because of everything, prosumers, renewable energy, open access, power exchanges, all of those things. So from a network management strategy, what are you doing? Obviously, you mentioned digital twins as one area, and I think I've heard very interesting things from GE App about your experiment there.
So of course, that's at the forefront of how we will manage our network, the digital twin, and we are very grateful to GE App for the kind of support that they've given us. We've also engaged with the International Solar Alliance for the next work that we're going to be doing in Ajmer Discom now. Starting this year. So, and we're also now moving to better demand forecasting. And of course, network operations, how do we make it more flexible? This summer has been a challenge with the kind of curtailment that has been seen in Rajasthan. So how we end up integrating the best systems into our network. And at the forefront, of course, other than the whole network management, is that there is a significant goal at the heart of the state, which is bringing data and supply to farmers. So that we need to align all of this within our systems. I think at the end of the day, as we go forward, the grid is on its own going to increasingly begin to function as a balancing, real-time balancing system rather than something that is essentially static. And with better demand forecasting, with a more flexible network operation, with integration of BESS, I think we'll be able to manage variability. But right now, I think moving to that process, and I think another challenge has been that in Rajasthan, we've been a little delayed in setting up our transmission networks. So whether it is the CTU, whether it is the state transmission network, it has its own gestation period and it's going to take a while to set up. So before all that comes into place, how we manage our RE integration, how we settle our systems during this time. So all of this is part of what we are looking at almost on a daily basis these days. And also something that is now coming up increasingly as the discoms improve their losses is a look at the transco losses. That's
Right.
something that I think has gotten veiled in the discom losses for now, but that's something that becomes a priority when discoms go into single digit losses. Then it's imperative that the transco also improves its efficiency and systems as we go ahead.
Ms. Dogra, you spoke about some of the pioneering technologies that are being implemented across Rajasthan DISCOMs, like digital twins, large-scale use of data analytics. So going forward, what are some of the new technologies or digital solutions that you are considering or adopting?
In Rajasthan, when we think of technology, we would like to adopt our technology very selectively with a focus more on what is actually improving our day-to-day performance, discom performance. So with like we've spoken of the digital twin, we've also done a lot of work on IT systems, on mobile-based monitoring tools. We've developed in-house some tools to track and monitor PDC connections, permanently disconnected connections, which have always been a bane for discom balance sheets. And we've worked on building analytics platforms to increase efficiency of our 33 kV GSSs. We've tried to bring in a little more efficiency through these smaller tools of enforcement management, and of course the greater data analytics platform. At the end of the day, all of what we are working on right now, the principle that we're bringing to it is this is not just about selective dashboards. It's not about building dashboards across for an assistant engineer or an XCN to look at. It's about, as was mentioned earlier, about integrating all of it, about greater interoperability, and making sure that whatever technology we bring, it translates into better decision making, not just at the top management level or at my level or at our chief engineer's level, but for better decision making right at the grassroots, where our assistant engineer and our junior engineer can use that data to improve his or her efficiency, and eventually all of that translates to better outcomes on the ground for our consumers.
Before I thank everyone, I actually want to mention there is actually a connection between Rajasthan and STS. Maybe even STS does not know about it. Secure Meters, which is one of India's biggest metering manufacturers, is actually based in Rajasthan. And Infinity in South Africa many, many years ago was promoted by Secure Meters. And of course, they were among the first ones to use the STS token management. Right. And so
very interesting.
Yes, and that's so. With that, I want to thank Ms. Dogra very, very much. I know you have a very, very busy schedule, but thank you for your time, and we hope to see you in Transtech in October, maybe in Delhi, which is transmission. And thank you, Mr. Hawkins Deddy. Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Thank you, Mr. Pucci, and STS for supporting this initiative. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.